So today we're going to be talking about how our mind interprets certain feelings. There is a commonality that I've noticed is starting to emerge from when young people start to work backwards and deconstructing their decision-making process. One of them that I want to discuss today is the concept of this particular action that I'm taking right now doesn't feel good. It makes me feel bad. An action making someone feel something. I'm going to use my company's process here as an example. So the concept of it doesn't feel good to sell something. I feel bad. I feel scammy. I feel like I'm taking advantage. I feel wrong. A variety of all those feelings. So my first question for you would be, what is that feeling that your brain is interpreting? Can we agree that the brain interprets a feeling and then gives us an answer based on the beliefs or experiences we've had in the past, right? So if the last time I flew on an airplane, there was like a ton of turbulence, well, I think it would be logical that any time I'm about to take off on an airplane, I start to feel anxiety, even if the turbulence isn't there. Again, the result, an action, an external action that I experienced in the past that initially did not have the precursor of the anxiety or the feeling. Now, anytime I go to take the action, I don't need to have the negative repercussion exist before I start experiencing the feeling. Anytime now I think about flying, well, what if there's a turbulence? So I'm going to start kind of tensing up. And a lot of times what people start to notice when they start thinking about what is that actual feeling, it's something about like a heart palpitation, or I get a tightness in my chest. I start breathing heavier. It's the parasympathetic system, fight or flight. And in that moment, it's definitely flight. But now I'm starting to experience flight even without any sort of danger existing. So what happens is if we allow that to continue, well, sure, at the beginning, maybe when a light amount of turbulence starts to happen, that isn't really scary, I start to experience. But now even just the thought of an airplane gives me anxiety. And now I just won't travel. Literally zero danger now creates that anxiety. And the more times that I respond in that way, which is flight, the less amount of danger that has to be present for me to choose flight, to the point where maybe somebody won't travel anymore, or they won't do it on airplane, which means that they'll miss out on, international travel, for example. And they'll start to create a solution, which is, it's just not for me. Travel, I don't need it. I like where I am. Love here. I don't need to meet anybody else. But that's just it's all a coping mechanism to avoid even thinking about the danger that doesn't really exist anymore, which is triggered by that, which is triggering that anxiety. So in order to avoid the anxiety, I just make a solution, which is it's not for me. Hope that somebody, is kind of hearing this and like, okay, yeah, I can, that's me. Maybe not. Maybe you're seeing in somebody else. And so the process that I'm starting to work some of my people through now is to first of all think about what the feeling is, because it's all interpreted by the brain, and the brain is what interprets what the actual, whether it's a real danger or fake danger. But what's the feeling? It's the heart palpitation. So the next question I ask is it possible that that feeling could be interpreted differently? So instead of a feeling of the feeling of heart palpitation being interpreted as danger, is it possible that we interpret it as excitement? I'm excited. That's what a heart palpitation is. That's what the breathing is. I'm excited, because I think a lot of times when people get excited, And if you look at a dog that's about to go for a car ride, they're excited. It sounds a lot like what fear sounds like. So if all we do is just listen to our brain, well, all it's going to give us is what's learned in the past. But if we start to learn how to talk to ourselves, thank you, John Gordon, for that. For those of you that have met John Gordon or heard of him or his titles. Well, we start to talk to ourselves like, hey, wait, that heart palpitation, that's excitement. I'm excited to fly. Well, we're gonna have to do a little therapy on ourselves, a little bit of coaching on ourselves. If I have to repeat that about 1,000,000 times, okay, heart palpitation, I'm excited. Heart palpitation, I'm excited. Tightness in my chest, I'm excited. Well, maybe eventually we can start changing our relationship to the feeling from I'm scared of this, it feels bad, to I'm excited about this. And excitement typically is, maybe hopefully things that we're going to be doing that's good. Or we're doing things that we're excited about doing that have more of like a positive potential result. Instead of I'm scared to fly, I'm excited to get there. That's what I'm feeling. But you got to tell yourself that over and over and over and over again until maybe eventually you can condition yourself differently. Because again, that traumatic experience that you had, maybe something that your parents said, money doesn't grow on trees. So now anytime you ask someone if they want to buy something, you're hearing that in the back of your head. Well, you maybe heard that 10 times a day, or, it was a lot when you're young in your development, and now you're in your 20s or 30s. Do you think it's going to come overnight? You're going to have to recondition yourself that the feeling you're getting from asking someone to buy something, from asking someone to invest into maybe your business, the feeling you're getting from doing something that has the potential danger that you maybe experienced when you were young. Well, maybe instead of thinking that's what creates fear, well, now I'm just excited to ask someone to spend something because maybe it's going to be great for them. I'm asking them to invest into my business because I know it's going to change people's lives. It's good for them, regardless of what it is. Selling knives, doing other things, whatever. But I think the big challenge is that you have to talk to yourself and tell yourself that the feeling that you're experiencing is a predecessor for good, not danger. So instead of flight, you fight for good. You fight to stay. And you fight to move forward. And maybe eventually, because I can promise you, it's never going to go away. You're always going to have that. Because that was, learned really young. It might never go away. But now maybe you can choose fight over flight. You can choose stay over go. And you can choose you over fear. Your future over your past. What do you think?